thing sounds sick as fuck. Fresh off the trailer, we got this 68 coupe. This was dropped off yesterday for a bunch of electrical finishing. This car was started by somebody else, and I guess the guy went out of business or whatever, and the client of ours picked it up and contacted us to essentially just get the car running and driving. There's no interior, there's nothing. It's got the motors installed. It supposedly ran. We'll find out how well in the next following days here while we get this electrical sorted out. It needs new fuel lines. Somebody didn't do them the way I would. We'll just say that. It would have probably broke a hole the first time you drove it with how it was. Needs new brake lines. Again, not the way I would have done it. It's got a CVF kit on the front end of the motor here. Lots of electrical stuff that I'm already seeing that's gonna need to be resolved. We're not worried about the interior. The main thing with this is running and driving, and that's it. Just getting it sound to run and drive. Obviously it's a mess right now. There's body shop dust and crap everywhere. It's a nice car, it needs to be finished, and that's why it's here. All right, so before I even dive into this thing, I'm not gonna work on it all dirty and shit, just because there's no point. It's gonna have to be cleaned anyways before it leaves, so might as well start with a clean surface to work on, to repair. So we're gonna pressure wash this engine bay. We got everything taped up, everything's covered, so you know, we can minimize any water intrusion. All right, so now that we got the hood off, we got a little bit better look at what's going on in here. There was some amateur hour brake line bending going on. As you can see here, this is all bent to shit, not following the firewall. Hits the throttle pedal. It's all just not.
Got the roller coaster right
not
there.
Good. Looks like Ray Charles bent these brake lines here. Oh, and then look at this here. You got no grommets going through metal, and you know that's a pet peeve of mine when people do stupid shit like this. And mind you, this came from a shop. Someone was paid money to do this kind of bullshit work. Blows my mind. So the first step on this is going to be to try and get this engine to run. And the process that I'll go through is starting on the inside from where the key goes in, testing connections from there, running out to here, and see either what's not connected, what's correct, connected incorrectly, because I'm guessing there's probably going to be some stuff done incorrectly just based on other stuff I'm seeing on this. So we'll start on the inside, move outside, check connections, fix connections, then we'll try to start it. Once we get it started, if it starts, we'll check for timing. If it doesn't start and it sounds like the timing's way off, if you've done a fair amount of these, you can tell just by cranking it if the timing's not right or if it's in the ballpark. If you have like the timing's way advanced, it'll be super hard to crank and it won't want to start, or if it's too low, it'll just crank and crank and crank and act like it's not gonna fire. Judging by this not having the hold down, it's probably not right, so we'll just start from square one, remove it, top dead center, number one piston, or number one piston, and set it up. All right, so let's get started on seeing if we got power inside, translating to the engine bay. Okay, so before I actually even go inside, I'm gonna get this timing set up. Just on further inspection, it's looking to be fucked up based on this number one cylinder being pointed at the number, whatever, 7, I guess it would be. So typically you'd want this pointing this way. So 1 is pointing to 1, typically. We'll get that addressed. Hopefully the firing order is correct. Earlier models, firing order is different than late models. So if this is a roller cam, assuming it would be the different firing order than what's currently on here, but I'm gonna go based off this, try and start it, and if it's not running, it's running fucked up, then I know the firing order is wrong. So got the ignition little key thing back together. I'm gonna test this battery to make sure I don't start off in the right direction. The battery seems to be good. I'm gonna test all of our connections. We got power there, we got power here, power there. Let's see if our fuses are good. We got power there, and we got power there. The alternator is not hooked up though. So this wire is going to, okay, so this is going to our MSD box. So that does have power, so that should work. And then let's test our ignition to see what we have going on with that. And this is going to our MSD box. We know that's good. Okay, so this is gonna be for our electric choke. So that's gonna be tested with ignition on. So now I'm gonna test in the car to make sure I've got power inside. So I went ahead and got the dash cluster removed because we're not getting anything at the key up here when we go to ignition on. So we gotta sort through this. I mean, this is obviously spaghetti, not the way I do stuff. See, for reference here, this is what I'm working with. To figure out why we have no ignition. So a little bit of diagnostic that's gonna have to happen in here to figure out why we've got no power here. All right, so upon a little bit further investigation here, these are the wires that run from this ignition switch, you know, the key, and come to find out they are not connected. So the connector is that one down there. The pink wires coming out of it. So I'm gonna disconnect that, reconnect this, and then we should have an ignition and we can start actually testing some stuff and maybe fire this motor up. All right, we got this all reconnected now. Turn this on, if I can do this with one hand. You can hear the fuel pump. Fuel pump now comes on with the key, and that means we should have what we need out in the engine bay. So we'll move on out there and we'll key on. Right there's about 12. That should get us in the ballpark we need to be in. Good, we know we got the spark. We got spark, then we know our coil's firing too, so. Okay, so I'm gonna also adjust these idle air mixture screws here. We're gonna count where they're at. So let's see, this is gonna be Okay, so we've got not even a full turn. So we're gonna go, so this is all the way in. You don't wanna go too far, so it's maybe one. So we're gonna go out a turn and a half on all four.
I have an idea!
So we need to increase the fuel pressure here. Obviously we got not enough, so we're gonna give it the beans here. Yeah, if you look in this little sight ball, there's definitely fuel in there, so I mean it should start up. We're in the right direction, I suppose. I'm gonna go and check where we're getting that noise from on the bottom end. So it's like basically about to touch it now, right?
Almost. Now
It's hitting.
Now I just barely hit it.
I heard it. That's the noise right there. Oh yeah.
Now it's like hitting it back and forth.
Yeah.
And I just moved it backwards.
So there's your noise.
Oh yeah, it's like a jingle too. It jingles, barely taps it.
So there's our metal.
All right, start it right there.
Huh? Yes, it goes. Fire it up. So good it's not the motor, but bad that now I gotta take the transmission out to fucking fix this. Shops. It could just be that it's doubtful that it's installed crooked on the crank, but it's possible that it's crooked on the crank. It's not seated right, but I'm guessing it's probably bent. How it got bent, that I don't know. Who knows? But my only option is to fix it, so that's what we'll do.
First thought.
I don't know. I mean, it's obviously bent somehow, which is crazy. I mean, I don't know how something, I've never seen one of these get bent like that. It's out by like a lot. Let me just verify what I think is happening here. So this bolt here would be in the middle. Oh no, so it should be going through one of these holes. So that's, oh no, look, there you go, right there. They didn't install, when they put the torque converter in, they didn't align it in this hole or this hole here. That's what this is for. And there's a witness mark right there. And I'm hoping that the flywheel was just flexing and it's not actually completely bent. There's these holes here for this little, I don't even know, it's like maybe a drain or something for this torque converter, and obviously they didn't have it in the holes, so they tightened it down onto this here, and as you can see there's a dent in that from it being on there like that. So now we have to check if this is straight. And what we can do is we can put the dial indicator on here and then run it along this edge to see how much it's moving in and out, and that'll tell us how either straight or bent this is. Okay, so this is not bent. It was just being flexed as a flex plate. No, so it's not bent. It was just being forced forward, whatever, 1/8 of an inch, but it seems to be okay. So we're gonna put this back together, obviously with this little hex bolt going through one of these little holes here, and we should be able to start this thing up and actually let it run without, you know, some clappy, grindy, shitty noises.
That it's in correctly, you can see that this nut comes through this hole right here, and before it would have been behind this plate pushing on it.
All right, now we got this thing back together, transmission's back installed. Now we're gonna rotate the engine by hand up here and then see if we still have a scraping situation at the starter. Good so far?
No, it's pretty straight.
Okay.
It's not getting closer like it was though.
All right. I mean, a little bit of variance is fine.
Yeah.
It's just as
It
long
was
as it's
nowhere.
not...
It was nowhere near.
No, yeah, like before, it was literally fucking running into it. So, we got our tranny lines tightened up.
Yep.
You went ahead and put nuts on here, right?
Yeah, we put nuts on
This
these
is actually
transmission
installed now.
bracket. They were all the way through and had no nuts, so they were like pretty much loose. The drive shaft back in, and then the rest of the transmission bolts.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's the transmission.
That's the important part.
No, just leave them out. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's what someone else would have done. So.
Yeah, no, they didn't have nuts on
Yeah,
those.
just leave it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
The next shop will get it.
The next guy. Wait for the next guy. All right, last bolt's going in on the transmission here. It was nice and tightened down. We're gonna fill it up with oil. We drained it earlier, obviously, so fill it back up.
And transmission oil, right?
And we're gonna add transmission fluid. I'm gonna add a zinc additive to this because it's a brand new motor. So, and I talked to the engine builder. He said, yeah, as far as he knows, it hasn't even been, you know, ran up to temperature. So, ready?
That was beautiful.
Dude,
Ears are ringing again.
it's so loud.
No, there was no clanking.
No, sounds good. It's hard, but I don't like letting it idle because it's so loud, and I don't like being able to hear if there's any problems because I don't know anything about this motor, you know what I mean? So it sounds good though.
No, it sounded way better.
Yeah, no, it sounds good.
I'll do a before and after clip right here.
I mean, literally, that was cold.
Yeah.
All I did was fucking pump the thing and fired it up, you know? And it didn't even crank that many times. It fucking,
No, that was a
right up.
normal start.
Yeah. I think it's gonna need a little bit more idle.
it's
water.
cooling.
Yeah. This thing sounds fucking nasty.
Yeah.
This thing sounds like a race motor, bro.
No exhaust.
It sounds fucking sick.
Let's check it out. Where the fuck is that coming from? Oh. It's coming from one of the freeze plugs. I wonder why it didn't have anything, no coolant when we first started.
Right?
Imagine that. Yeah, you can see it. Oh yeah, it's pissing out. You can see it right here. It's got a little pinhole in it. Where? Right? You see that little stream? It looks like a little line coming off of it. How does that? Wait, how do we take the freeze plugs out? We gotta drop the motor. Oh. Yeah. So there's your pinhole. Pissing water out. Finish one problem, onto the next. Dude, this thing sounds sick as fuck. Oh, it's nothing like open headers and like a built motor that just has a nasty ass cam. Just gets your fucking blood going, you know? Am I revving? Oh, it's snappy as fuck too. No, this is a good motor, minus, you know, a little pinhole situation, but. Are you taking the motor out? Or the motor mount? I'll just probably do it in the car. We'll take the motor mount out and try to do it in the car. I mean, it's in the worst possible spot. Thanks for watching, everyone. We got a lot done on this car, but as you can see, the problems just kept coming. In the next video, we attempt to get that freeze plug leak fixed. We completely remake all of the existing hideous fuel lines. Finally sort out that rat's nest of wiring under the dash, get all the lights working and running, and much more. So subscribe and stay tuned to see this thing drive for the very first time. So I noticed, you see this right here? There's like water here. So I started messing with this. So this car actually identifies as a boat. So this is actually the drain plug. You gotta remember. You gotta put it back in. After every drive, you gotta take this in and out to drain your water out. That's fun.